Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Providence. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Bueller. And we've got Adrian Sullivan with his blue-black control deck at 7-2, sitting down early in the morning here for round 10 against Todd Anderson. He's playing Ojutai Jeskai, so it looks like
the Dragon Lord Jeskai deck.
The Scourge of Roanoke, apparently.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys from Star City are playing this. Apparently started with Patrick Dickman, who was staying with Brad Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, Brad, Todd Anderson, BBD, a lot of those guys test together, live together even sometimes. So looks like this deck was the weapon of choice here this weekend. Todd's going to fire off a Morph here after cracking a Flooded Strand. And he's got a nice little 2-3 here. Now that Morph is probably a Stratus Dancer, right? That's the only one they're running?
That Morph is a Stratus Dancer.
Which is a nice one against Adrian Sullivan's deck if he gets to untap with it.
If it's not a Stratus Dancer, it's really good news for Adrian.
And really bad news for Todd.
Exactly.
Turn up my Manus Rider attack. Megamorph, put a counter on it. All right, he does in fact get to untap with it here, and now Todd Anderson has found a nice little bit of pressure here. He's crunching in for 4 damage. And he doesn't actually have to develop his board out any further.
Yeah, he's now kind of at the point where you're playing against a control deck. I mean, even if he doesn't think this is exactly the deck Adrian Sullivan top-8'd the Pro Tour with, Adrian's a noted control mage. He's played only blue and black cards. He's played them in his trademark upside-down manner. So Todd's got to start worrying about Wrath effects, Crux of Fate, Perilous Vault, etc. Adrian does only play 1 copy of Crux of Fate, though. He's mostly in on Perilous Vault.
4 of those?
Fully 4.
4? Wow.
And 2 Ugins.
Oh, jeez. All right, well, here's Liliana Vess, and now Todd has to decide, do I even care about this? Now, I don't know if he has an answer for it in his hand. The Stratus Dancer can't do anything about it.
Yeah, Stratus Dancer's instants and sorceries.
Right.
So it can counter a Crux of Fate.
Yes.
The fact that Adrian is all in on Perilous Vaults actually helps him a little bit here.
Yeah, this is interesting because if Adrian pluses Liliana, then even a flip from Todd Anderson will keep her out of range, and he's done that. And it's going to be a Hordling Outburst for Todd Anderson. It's going to hit the bin here.
Yeah, which you can see he could, in theory, have cast, but then he'd have to take the Stratus Dancer shields down.
And he's going to Lightning Bolt targeting Adrian. Yeah, he's just going to ignore Liliana Vess. This is the argument against Liliana. It's a fairly controversial inclusion for Adrian Sullivan and his control decks. A lot of players think that Liliana Vess just doesn't have the power level to hang in Standard, but Adrian does, and he's pretty consistently played a copy of Liliana Vess in each of his control decks. And Todd is showing Liliana no respect. He's attacking past her, lightning striking past her as well, and just saying, sure, enjoy.
I mean, 1 more burn spell from Todd is lethal. And
he does actually have a burn spell of sorts in his hand. He's got I think he's got a Manus Rider too, which if Adrian were to tap out for a big sorcery or instant, he could flip up his Stratus Dancer, counter it, and then just slam Manus Rider and kill Adrian.
And this minus ability of Liliana is where most of her power comes from. The people that like Liliana like her in large part because of her ability to tutor and go find, whatever one of happens to be exactly what you want in a given situation.
Adrian Sullivan is...
Adrian Sullivan's deck has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different one-ofs amongst the spells.
To go search up. Interesting.
And some 2s. Definitely the kind of guy who has a lot of situational one-ofs and knows his deck so well that, oh, I drew this one-of. I'm going to play this game this way to maximize the power of this thing.
All right, he's past the turn back. Now, if Todd has an untapped land here, he can just play Manus Rider, attack with everything. That's lethal.
Yep.
And still have the ability to counter something with his Stratus Dancer, but he doesn't have it.
Yeah, no 5th land. He's definitely kept the Stratus Dancer shields up consistently.
Yeah. And it remains so, as he's just going to play another Stratus Dancer. This gives him the ability to let one of his creatures die here. All right, well, it's going to get dissipated anyway. And Adrian's going to pass. So what did Adrian get with that Liliana? He got Silence the Believers, which is certainly not going to get the job done here. If he has 2 removal spells, then he could put himself in a spot to be at 1.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to pay the strive cost on Silence the Believers to get both creatures. And he's what he's going to go for here.
Is he?
No, just the 1.
He knows it's getting countered, and it does. And he's got 3 mana up with an Urborg, so cards like Bile Blight could come into play here. But mainly, Todd's job is just to attack here. He doesn't really have a whole lot.
Well, does he add Mantis Rider to the board is the question.
I think he does.
I think I would.
Yeah, you just overload the board. If this gets countered, you win the game. And it does get countered, but that's game. As all Todd has to do is remember not to attack Liliana. And I'm sure Adrian's pulling some shenanigans here, but with a chuckle from both players, Todd Anderson picks up the first game. Pretty easy game for Todd. He went 2-drop, 3-drop, attack, 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 and that was about it.
Pretty much. See Josh McLean on the back table. Josh ran the table yesterday.
He did.
At the top of our players to watch. Look at that, 27 points. Brian Bronduin also amongst the 4 undefeateds coming out of day 1.
Always happy to see that.
Yeah.
Guy that puts in that much work, and he's kind of one of those up-and-comers.
Definitely. Hayne and Dickmon hanging out amongst our 1-loss players along with Mike Sigrist. Note, though, Hayne a match ahead of Pascal Maynard.
It just seems like he's always one thing ahead. It's a pro point, it's a match, it's some top
now it's
8
4
or
pro
whatever.
points, could be more. Turns out Alexander Hayne's really good at Magic.
Yeah, trying to chase down Alex, that's a tall order.
Yeah, and then 4 ranked players still among our X and 2s. Now, with 1,000 players here, X and 2 is in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the 3rd loss, God, does somebody sneak in at 3 losses?
That's the question I had for you.
It's probably people draw in at X2-1 is probably how this plays out.
Okay.
I don't think you can get into this top 8 with 3 losses. There's still 1,000 people. It's not like there's 400 or something.
Yeah, and it was 1,070 something too, so it's bumping up on 1,100.
Yeah, so we're going to treat that 3rd loss as fatal for top 8 purposes. Although, I mean, for the guys that are chasing pro points, it's really the 4th loss that feels fatal. 3 losses, you get 3 pro points. 11 and 4, you only get 1 pro point.
Yeah,
that difference feels like a big deal.
Yeah.
Lots of names still in this, though. We certainly had some casualties yesterday as people fell by the wayside. But plenty of good players and good decks to watch today.
You see Josh back there. Undefeated.
Do we know who won that first game on the back table?
Let's see if it might be in my chat here, too, sometimes. McLean.
Wow.
Do we know what McLean's playing?
Josh McLean is playing.
Looks like he's playing Abzan Megamorph. Yeah. All right.
He's playing against Esper Dragons this round. It's a pretty good matchup for Abzan, I think. I feel like the Megamorph piece. I mean, if he's all the way to Satyr Wayfinders, it's just so hard for Esper Dragons to catch up. I mean, Foul Tongue Invocation is really the card that made that archetype so powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the discovery. Like the Channel Fireball guys who had such a good Pro Tour with Esper Dragons really felt like, oh, wow, Foul Tongue Invocation's actually really, really good in this format, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well.
And it seems to have dipped significantly
because people are playing Satyr Wayfinders.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
really
recursing
annoying.
their Deathmist Raptors and Den Protectoring for advantage. Just the environment is not as good for Esper Dragons as it was a month ago, that's for sure. Still a fine deck. I mean, you still see that's a 9-0 player with Esper Dragons playing against Josh McLean in Noah Walker. Other undefeated archetypes. BBD's on Abzan aggro.
Okay.
He's, dealing death, as it were. And then the 4th undefeated player is Matt Tomovich, who's playing red-green aggro.
Aggro?
Aggro. We didn't see Tomovich yesterday, but we saw someone else who had a red-green aggro list.
We've seen a lot of the devotion decks out here.
Well, you remember the red-green dragon deck that
Yeah.
Chris Van Meter did well at the Open Series with?
Yeah, with the Regents and the...
Right. So take the Atarkas out and put in beatdown creatures instead.
Okay, sure.
So it's almost red-green dragons. It's just sort of the faster version of it.
But you're still just ramping out big dragons that are hard to deal with.
Yeah, just Thunderbreak
punish you
region is
for
the
it.
top of your curve instead of the middle.
Well, they still run, what's it called, right? Storm Breaths.
Fine. You
Got
have
it.
fine. Storm Breath's the top. You're 8. I think of those as almost the same, but I guess 4 is not the same as 5, is it?
It turns out, no. All right, let's jump in over on Noah Walker and Josh.
Speaking
McCoy.
of, the Seder Wayfinder
Indeed.
comes down, gets a land, spills a Death Mist Raptor into the graveyard.
It's so annoying, right? Like if you're sitting in Noah's seat, you're looking at that thing like, ugh.
Somehow I've been 3 for 1 by this mediocre draft
And it
card.
always gets in for 3 or 4 before it gets swept away with everything else that's actually important too. It's it's a pretty good value proposition. And there is that Death Mist Raptor. Is it going to resolve here? You know, we've seen a few dissipates here and there over the course of the weekend, Randy. I'm wondering
We
if
have.
dissipates poised for a big comeback. All right, let's jump back over to game 1 though. It looks like or match 1. They're underway again. We don't want to miss anything here between Sullivan and Todd Anderson. And let's see if Todd can get a threat down while the door's open. It looks like he might just be doing that indeed. He's cracked his flooded strand here. Last time we saw him lead off with the Soulfire Grandmaster, which went the distance.
Pretty much. I feel
mean-
like the Stratus Dancer's the one that really went the distance. But
True, but I just mean like he played it on turn 2 and
It's
it
true. It
attacked,
attacked with it every turn until
yeah.
his opponent
And
was
it
dead.
never died, and there it is.
It's a good card. Pretty much supplanted Seeker of the Way in these decks. It's the
Yeah.
card that used to be floating around these
Yeah.
two spots, but
Yeah, we saw that earlier as well. There was a Mardu Dragons deck by Jonathan Sukenik, and he also had replaced his Seekers of the Way with the Grandmaster here. I don't know if I like it as much in that version. That one really does have a beatdowny curve. All right, Dissolve is going to hit the Portaling Outburst here.
yeah, Adrian's plan is just to trade cards. He just wants to trade as efficiently as he can. Being on the play helps.
He just wants to trade. Is that what you're saying? I'll buy it. All right, Perilous Vault, a good card for trading. Usually it trades for multiple cards. I don't think Todd's going to be in a big hurry to put too many threats in front of that Perilous Vault, but I don't
Yeah, but
think
then Adrian
the
won't have to
2/2
be in a
is-
big hurry to blow it.
Yeah,
if
the
it's just
2/2
a
is not good
2/2.
enough either, so. Perilous Vault already affecting the game. It just has this like gravitational effect on the game. Once it hits, it changes everything from both players' perspectives. All right, I want to see what Todd does here. Besides attack. Does he add something to the board? Nope. That looks like he's going to play the patient game here.
Well, he's cracking a fetch
Oh,
line
he
now.
did
Does he
actually
have
crack the fetch. Why did he do that? He passed the turn.
is he just going to shuffle efficiently?
Yeah, I suppose he's doing like the commander.
Sure, I'll shuffle while you take your turn.
Yeah, it's just polite, you know. And nothing from Adrian Sullivan, but that's pretty much expected. Most of his spells can be cast on Todd's turn anyway. Yeah. You know, the 2/2 is getting some work done here.
Oh, can you tell Adrian we'll just pay 3 turns with me getting attacked by 2/2 and no spells getting cast?
Oh, he'll buy that.
He'll
yeah.
take it. The other thing is the Perilous Vault's actually more powerful if you can crack it during your opponent's end step.
Oh, yes.
Like if you're not under so much pressure that you have to crack it, then you crack. Yeah, and that's exactly what Adrian's done here.
Yeah, but
It's
he
like-
he didn't take the offer that you gave him, Randy.
oh, he did that main phase?
No,
No,
this
okay.
is-
He
this is
cracks
a-
at end step.
Yes, but this
But-
is still a dig.
Todd gets off at dig through time while
Yeah.
Adrian's tapped out. I mean, the reason you want to do it end step is they can't follow up with creatures. You get to untap with a clean board.
Yes. Which is usually prime position for Adrian to play Ashiok, which tends to be his one of his win conditions of choice. I haven't actually looked at this list.
4 of them.
Yeah, he loves playing an Ashiok.
Todd getting off a dig there is not good news for Team Sullivan.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Because one way that you'll see these Jeskai decks play out is that they'll get some damage in like they did, get him down to 11, and start chaining dig through times into burn spells. And you know,
Here's a spot where Liliana actually looks decent, though. I think, right? Blank board plus.
yeah, blank board's better.
Sure, you got to dig, but you probably don't have any lands in your hand.
Looks like Anderson's in the tank here.
Oh, he's got to figure out what to discard.
Has been plussed. He's got an Ojutai that he's going to get to play next turn. Wow, Manus Rider hits the bin. That's one of the ways that you can really pressure Planeswalkers or life totals. Ojutai does a reasonable job of it as well. So there we have it. Dragonlord Ojutai.
He's got the trick set up for next turn, right, where he can go face down Stratus Dancer before he attacks with
that's
Ojutai
nice.
and turns off the hexproof.
He does have that set up, and that's a nice one. Wow, discarding a dig through time to Liliana. All right, Liliana does look pretty
Like
good.
I said,
this
it
game.
seemed like a good spot for her.
Yeah. Todd figures he's got the tools he needs to win right here.
He kept Stratus Dancer, and I couldn't see what the other card was.
I
that he
think
kept
it's
over
a
dig.
Disdainful Stroke.
All right.
And I think he might have 2 of them now even. All right, well, here's Stratus Dancer. It's on the stack. It resolves. And he's going to attack Adrian. And in response, Adrian is going to Bile Blight here. The
And
morph,
you
which
flip
just
it.
sort of forces the issue to turn it face up. But it also means that the Todd Anderson could be vulnerable here, though. I have to say, with just the one Crux of Fate, that's not really going to get the job done here.
Especially not through Disdainful Stroke.
And not through Disdainful Stroke, right? And the Perilous Fault looks a little too slow to deal with this board.
Aether Spouts could be another card Adrian wants to use to reset this board.
Yeah, he just found a Pearl Lake Ancient.
That's not going to get the job done against Flyers
No.
or against Disdainful Stroke.
And there's a Disdainful Stroke hitting the bin, but he's got a
it's
backup in
one of
his
the two.
hand. And Hero's Downfall is going to take down Ojutai. Of course,
Only
that
costs
can't
3
be
mana.
Disdainful Stroke. Now, it's not all bad for Todd Anderson fans, though, because Adrian's at 6, and he's got a 3-powered flyer that's going to take half of his life total here, making basically any burn spell that Todd would have post-board left lethal.
And it makes the Stratus Dancer lethal next turn.
Totally. Wow, and here's
Either
another
Stratus
Stratus
Dancer.
Dancer. Yeah, and this is going to get him another... Oh, and here's the Lightning Strike set up as well with the Stratus Dancer up to counter any counters. Well played by Todd Anderson, and this was an impressive deck. I think I want to... I think I might be building this bad boy.
Deck's looked good on camera multiple times.
It has.
I mean, Brad Nelson crashed out of this tournament, which, I mean, him crashing out of day 1 of a standard GP is a huge upset. But the couple times we've seen it on camera in other players' hands, it's looked pretty good.
It has. I kind of refuse to play a standard deck that doesn't have Dragonlord Ojutai in it. It's just a principle thing for me.
Okay.
That card is awesome,
Okay.
and I'm a huge fan of it.
I see that Josh McClain seems to be missing from our back table. I suspect that's
think
really
that's
good news.
he's carrying this match slip over to the judge station.
Yeah, he was up a game,
He
so
won 2-0, yeah.
sure looks like a 2-0 win for
Yeah,
Josh
we
McClain.
have confirmation here.
Great. It's the other match we called up. We had Matt Nass over Shahar Shenhar. Is that right? Was it Matt that was playing Shahar?
It was Matt and Shahar played, yeah.
Yeah. So then we're down to just the turbo match. Our good buddy Alexander Hain on X1, trying to pick some more pro points up.
And there's Jonathan Sukenik. Now, Jonathan is playing a Mardu deck that we saw yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's playing sort of a take on the Mardu Dragon stack. He's
I
made some
wasn't in for
changes,
that round.
though. He's
Nice.
moved some things around. It's a little different than the deck that we've seen.
So Soulfire, Rabblemaster, Regent, Stormbreak, Kolagon.
Yeah, and he's cut 2 Haven of the Spirit Dragon. He's also got Nomad Outposts
Okay.
in the main.
Yeah, this is Mardu Dragons.
It's Mardu
pretty
Dragons.
much.
Yeah.
I mean, quote unquote, only 10 dragons, but sure.
Yeah, but he's got the crackling dooms and
Mhm.
you know the usual draconic roars and the things that you'd expect to see out of this deck.
Thoughtseize.
Yep.
You'd expect to see out of decks with black mana.
Yeah, he's already played 2 of them this game as well.
Just fueling the Thoughtseize.
Yeah,
Thanks for the Thoughtseize.
almost a dark ritual for Alex Zane.
Oof. It's a good crackling doom.
Wow. Whoa. 6 damage. And he took 2 from the Doom, too. Wow, hit you for 8. Jonathan Sukenik firing in all cylinders here. And nothing but a lowly morph for Alex. Even if it is a Den Protector, it might just be too late here. Yeah, Draconic Roar, reveal, and kill you. Wow.
Mm.
What a thumping from Jonathan Sukenik. Maybe I'll play that deck instead.
Sure.
You know, I do feel like
It's not
the need
Ojutai,
to
though.
punish.
It's other dragons.
Yeah, I know. That's the part that really bothers me. But the thing is, I love the idea of punishing these decks that are going to be like, I'm going to play a Den Protector. Like, in my mind,
Right.
you know, when you think of Standard, playing a 2/2 for 3 mana should be punishing. And these decks do a good job of setting up so that it's not punishing. I want to punish them. I want to say, you know what,
No,
you're
fair
going to play these slow.
I think Mardu Dragons is for you then, not the Ojutai decks are not the decks that punish.
Okay.
The Ojutai decks are the decks that are vulnerable to Den Protector, Death Mist.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll play this one then. But I'll tell you what, I'm playing 4 Haven of the Spirit Dragon.
Sure.
Which can cast Ojutai, by the way.
Understood.
I'll just hang on to that.
It's the principle.
Yes.
Game 2, Sukunika up a game. 2 coursers, no lands.
And here's a Read the Bones for Jonathan. We saw him yesterday as well. He sideboarded into a even more attrition-based version. And here's a Thoughtseize to see, whoa, a nice hand here for Alex.
Yeah, no, Alex he just needs lands.
He's got it all. Elspeth, Obzon Charm, Downfall, Siege Rhino, Ultimate Price. He's going to hit a land next turn most likely because he's got that Satyr Wayfinder sitting on top of his library.
Huh. Takes the 6-drop.
Yeah, you know, it looks like Jonathan is saying
We're going to be
this
here for a
game's
while.
going to go long, yeah. Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer for Alex. He wants to keep hitting these lands and developing his board here. He had to get rid of a Siege Rhino that was on top of his library. And there's Crux of Fate to clear away the chaff, as it were.
Courser's not chaff. You have
And
2 coursers with that Crux of Fate.
yeah, you can see why
It's enough to change history.
you can see why Alex
Run
shuffled away the Siege Rhino. He didn't have a white mana source at the time. He's got one now. But he found it by playing the Wayfinder. It revealed that Sandstep Citadel on top of his library. All right. Well, Thunderbreak Regent's a magic card. Was a magic card.
Obzon Charm goes
Oh,
down.
you draws 2. Okay.
Yeah. Feels like he's using the middle ability, so it's the minus ability.
The charms are planeswalkers now.
That one might be.
But isn't the last one put 2+1+1?
Yeah, that's not much
the
of an
ultimate.
It's not much of an ultimate.
I
Analogy
like it.
breaks down.
Next time that happens, I'm going to say he just ultimated in Obzon Charm. It is the rarest one.
Right. That part works. Now, Jonathan knew about all these removal spells.
Yeah.
He chose to Thoughtseize the Elspeth, just trusting that Alex was going to get to 6 and going to have double white by then.
He's found a Haven of the Spirit Dragon here. He's going to be able to bash with
And
the,
another Storm Breath.
Oh, sweet. We've caught up to reality, although reality it does not look good for Jonathan. He's at 2. And Crackling Doom. Okay, well, that got a lot better. Huh. If we would have fast-forwarded slightly further ahead in time, we'd find Jonathan Sukenik at 5 life with a Storm Breath facing nothing. I like this outlook a little better than it looked about 5 seconds ago for Jonathan. He is up a game as well, so Alex, a lot of pressure on him to come up with something to mitigate this, and that Stormbreath Dragon can be quite difficult to deal with, though. We did see
out of cards, right? He's
he
hell-bent.
He is, but he also has a Haven of the Spirit Dragon and a Thunderbreak Regent, so he's got a play next turn even if he bricks on his draw step.
There's the Stormbreath in his yard, too. It's Stormbreath number 2 that's in play.
And he can actually afford to play that next turn as well and put huge pressure on Alex.
Yeah. Monstrous the Stormbreath, also an option.
Yeah, Alex has 2 cards in hand.
Oof, one of them's a Crux.
It is. Which I'm assuming he would have to use here. Oh no, he's got that ultimate price still from before.
It's a new ultimate price, but yeah.
Okay. He's got an ultimate price. That is about the cleanest answer you can get for a Stormbreath.
2 ultimate prices dealt with the 2 Stormbreaths this game. That is
right.
how this played out.
Well, Jonathan can get right back on board here, though. The problem, of course, is that Alex very likely has a Den Protector face down there. He's going to get to buy back an ultimate price next turn.
What else are you going to do?
Yeah, it looks like he's going to just
Thunderbreak.
Thunderbreak.
Not the Stormbreath.
It's an interesting play.
I mean, I guess he wants the 3 damage.
He would get 4 damage with the Stormbreath.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I ran the numbers. This does mean also that Alex can get back a card like Abzan Charm, which can deal with the Regent. And I guess that was it.
What, did Alex show him the Crux?
Oh, no, he just said, you know what I'm going to do? He's going to ultimate an Abzan Charm. And that gets it right past the Regent. And that was at 5. And he was at 5. Well, that didn't take long, Randy.
On to game 3.
We ultimated an Abzan Charm a lot quicker than I thought we would. All right, so Alex picks up the game. And, yeah, we get a game 3 here. I like that. This is a cool matchup.
Yeah, Mardu Dragons might just be a good call here. All this grindy mid-range stuff gumming up the ground. Go to the air. Fly over that mess. And do it quickly enough that they don't have time to start recursing all their Den Protectors.
Yeah, and with the premium removal that Jonathan has available, he can also play sort of a tempo game against these type of decks where he's just proactively killing things, getting in extra damage with Draconic Roars and the like, and making it so that when Alex finally transitions to that middle part of the game where he has 5 mana and he's playing a Den Protector and getting back a card with it and maybe even a Deathmist Raptor or whatever, where it's a little too late for that at that point. That whole sequence becomes a little too slow. Though I will say that Alex does look well positioned here. There's been times in Standard where the Abzan players really didn't have that many answers to a Stormbreath. They had some number of Hero's Downfalls, and that was about it. And
Ultimate Price helps.
Now he has Ultimate Price and Hero's Downfall available. I'm curious how many Abzan Charms Alex actually is playing here.
Yeah, most of these decks are on 4 Abzan Charm, which does make them a little bit soft. But Alex has 3 Hero's Downfall, which is 1 more than a lot of the lists I've seen. 4 Charm,
and
3 Downfall.
And the Ultimate Prices are all on the board, right?
3 in the board.
3 in the board. Wow, yeah. Even in End Hostilities, too.
Yeah, he's on 2 Crux main, 1 End Hostilities in the board.
Yeah, this does seem to favor Alex post-board. He has all the answers he needs to the threats that Jonathan can make. Does Alex have any way to deal with an Outpost Siege? Thoughtseize. That does it. Duress.
So can he have them? 2 in the board.
2 in the board.
And 2 Read the Bones. I mean, presumably, if he brought in Read the Bones, he brought in Outpost Siege.
Yes.
I guess a lot of his burn is just not great in this matchup. Not much to point Draconic Roar at. Is that what he's done?
Could be.
2 Foul Tongues probably come out first. Yeah, I mean, Jonathan has the ability to try to make himself the grindy attrition-based deck with a couple of Read the Bones, couple Outpost Siege. Is that where he wants to be positioned in
That's
this
what I
matchup,
want to
though?
know. My gut says
I
no.
like the, beat down tempo,
Yeah.
and if you actually do gum up the ground, I'll go to the air plan.
I like that plan a little better, too. It feels like you're just playing into Alex's hands here if you try to meet him on that level. Because one thing you learn after watching a few mid-range Obzon Den Protector decks go is that they can grind. I mean, these things can outgrind, dig through times.
It takes a lot of turns for Outpost Siege to beat Den Protector.
That's right.
It's a lot of turns.
Yeah, I know. I talked to a couple of the players that were playing the red-green Devotion deck because they just wanted to go over the top of these type of decks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, both players keep their hands, and we're off to the races here. Both players are at 8-1 as well, so every win really adding up towards the potential top 8 here, and they want to get the day started off right. We're actually
Mastery of the Unseen.
round 10 here. Our graphic says 11, but this is 10.
That's a nice one-of in from the sideboard.
What is it? Oh, Mastery?
Mastery.
Oh, jeez.
Now that does seem like a card that can actually win the mid-game.
Can it? The thing that I always notice about that is there's two different types of decks that bring that in. There's decks like Jonathan he's going to make one manifest per turn forever if he wants, which I don't think really keeps up with, Alex just casting real spells out of his hand. And then there's the other types which can make tons of mana using Nykthos, and those ones can make 2, sometimes even 3 a turn, and it just completely dominates. And Jonathan's deck can't do that. I wonder if it's just too slow.
Look, he clearly thinks that his role in this matchup is to be the better grindy mid-range deck.
He does, yeah.
Read the Bones, a Mastery, a couple Outpost Siege.
Those are good tools, so I can't blame him for that. Okay. Satyr Wayfinder, you got it.
Got the land. Didn't spill any Death Mistraptor, so that's always what you're looking for, I think, for the Obzon player.
That's a good point.
Show me Death Mistraptor.
Though that said, those are all future spells to be grabbed with the Den Protector. So now it's kind of
I think Den Protector itself might be the next thing you want.
Yeah. Just view those as options.
It's a pretty land-heavy draw, right? What's in here? 4 lands.
Yeah.
Downfall Rhino Charm.
Yeah. Yeah, not a great hand here for Alex. I mean, it's not a mulligan, but pretty pedestrian draw here. That Obzon Charm drawing card should really propel him into the mid-game, though.
Which is a reason to take it if you're
Agree.
Jonathan, and he
Agree.
does.
Jonathan plays a land and passes turn back. Probably another land on top for Alex, which he puts to the bottom, passes turn back to Jonathan. What can Jonathan do here? This is turn 4. He's got a lot of good plays on turn 4.
Activate Mastery?
Does
that
that's
count?
one of them. No
Alex
respect.
just attacks in?
Just doesn't care. I
Funny.
guess signaling his intent to kill the manifest. He's like, before blocks.
Hold, please.
Yeah, so he's just going to play the tempo game here.
Wow. Really?
Right that way, Wayfinder
I like
to victory.
Mastery a lot better if each activation takes a hero's downfall out of your opponent's hand.
No kidding.
Did Alex just miss that? And got priced into downfalling?
I don't think he was priced into it if he had missed it, so I don't think he missed it.
Okay.
I think if you miss it, you just say, whoops, all right, fine,
Down goes
Wayfinder down.
Wayfinder.
Yeah. All right, well, here's Read the Bones now for Sukenik. Just 2. He picks up his library. Okay, so he kept one of them, put the other one down, draws his 2 cards, and he's down to 12. Wayfinder beat down once again. And here's a Siege Rhino. So you can see how Alex's plan is coming together here, as he's got Jonathan down to 8 with 5 power up. And that mastery looks a little too slow here. Wow, I just noticed this. Alex, he taps his creatures the different direction to attack than he does his lands to tap for mana.
What?
I don't think I've ever seen that.
What?
I've been watching Alex play, like, Alex literally won the first Pro Tour I ever covered. And I just noticed that now. Take that, Adrian Sullivan. All right, so land number 5 here for Sukenik, who's down to 7 now. And Alex has played this tempo game where Jonathan hasn't done a whole lot.
It helps that Jonathan played Read the Bones instead of activating Mastery on turn 5.
It's true.
It changes the tempo a little bit.
It does. It got him an extra damage in +2 from the Read the Bones.
And there's no 2-2.
And there's no 2-2. So Scryland here. Not sure what the confusion's about here. A mysterious hand just took Jonathan's deck, so we'll just sit tight for a minute while they get that sorted. I did see that one of Jonathan's sleeves had broken earlier, and he had to replace it while he was shuffling. Maybe another one broke or something like that. At any rate, this is a huge turn for Jonathan. Yeah, I just saw him give another sleeve out of the package there, so. Looks like Jonathan went for those budget sleeves. They're letting him down. Okay, now we get to resolve a scry here. But I'm really just curious to see what Jonathan plays this turn, because he needs to stabilize.
Yep.
Crackling Doom would be fine. Just get rid of the Siege Rhino.
Yeah, I mean, any kind of removal spell on Siege Rhino puts him in an okay spot.
Though looking at his mana base here, there's no Urborg out, right? So he's got Caves as his 2 black mana sources. So, you know, a Hero's Downfall or whatever, that does 2 to him.
Yeah, damage is definitely adding up here.
For sure. All right, well, he's going to take 1 off of this. And there's that Crackling Doom to take care of the Siege Rhino. Alex's life total, not really a factor yet. But Jonathan's very much is. As Alex has been able to get in a pretty good amount of damage here with this Satyr Wayfinder. We mentioned it earlier, and he's doing it. Jonathan really doesn't want to see another Siege Rhino here. Oh, there it is. Down to 2. So now he can tap 1 Caves of Koilos once. He now has a Temple of Silence, though, as a free black mana source, so that helps.
That Hero's Downfall on the Manifest for Alex was brilliant.
It worked out. I mean, it got him 1 extra damage through. And
per turn for 4 turns and counting now.
Yep. This has been a crazy game. Okay, do you have a dragon to reveal? You do. But as we mentioned earlier, this is just pure pain for Sukenik because it's only going to take out that Wayfinder, a.k.a. the best Wayfinder
nope,
ever.
There's the other one.
And there's another
second foul tongue.
So he's going to go from 2 to 10 here.
9.
And then drop
Caves
down
of
to
Koilos.
9 after paying for the Caves of Koilos. And he's going to get rid of 2 creatures. Wow. What a huge swing for Sukenik.
Now that Mastery might have time to take over the game.
All right, well, let's get the morph train going here for Alexander Hayne. All right, we got a real fight on our hands here, Randy. This one's
Yeah, no, this is interesting, just the way Sukenik has set his deck up. This is the game that Jonathan wants to play, but can he actually win it?
Yeah, does it work for him? Especially with presumably here a Den Protector. All right, well, it looks like Jonathan's not going to play the Thunderbreak Regent, but instead Storm Breath. Rar. And he's just going to pass the turn back.
Go.
Yeah, it's on blocking duty here. And here comes the loop. So Den Protector gets Den Protector. Whoop. He can play another one now. Oh, no. Is that an ultimate price?
It is.
Wow. There's a third of Jonathan Sukenik's life total falling right back away again. And, of course, her crew fixes a follow-up play here for Alex, who finds yet another Siege Rhino. So, once again, Jonathan Sukenik facing lethal. If nothing changes, he loses next turn. He's got to do something here. He's not going to be able to block the Den Protector with his Manifests. So he needs something else. We know he's got the Thunderbreak Regent in his hand. So he can do that. If he's got another land, he can do that and make a Mastery of the Unseen Manifest in the same turn. But we have to also remember that Alex has that that second Den Protector in his hand as well. With one more land from Alex, he could play the Den Protector, flip it, get back ultimate price, kill the Thunderbreak Regent, and then kill Jonathan the next turn. All right, well, there's that land.
It is, of course. A Caves of Koilos.
Of course it is. He's got 3 of those now.
Sideboarding in Standard is really interesting right now. I mean, it definitely gives you the ability to just change the way your deck's going to play across matchups. There's a lot of skill there. It's actually one of the places I think Brad Nelson makes a lot of his living. He just, all his decks have the ability to be completely different, play completely different roles depending on the matchup. He very much builds 75 card decks and just picks the 60 that he wants to play in any given game.
All right, Thunderbreak Regent it is. Oh, Alex has a hero's downfall. Do 3 to you. This could drop Jonathan down to 3 here. He's going to, of course, make the Manifest so that he can block the Courser or go to 1.
Tough. I might just go to 1 here and hope he doesn't have the land for the Siege Rhino. Like, is chump blocking really going to get you ahead? You're just going to be in the same position next turn.
You're also just dead to Siege Rhino anyway, if you chump.
Yeah, fair enough.
He does chump. So if Alex goes untap land Siege Rhino, then that's game, but he doesn't quite have it. Still, he's put himself in a great position here, as Jonathan Sukenik not only has to deal with 3 creatures on board, but he also has to gain life at some point here.
Yeah. Jeez.
Well, this does give him the ability to gain life, but it's going to cost him 2 life to do it. Yeah,
I don't even know what he's digging for. He doesn't have sweepers in his list.
No. The Foul Tongues would get him up to 5, but kill him anyway. And that's going to do it. Oh, he has a crux there.
Right, there was the one crux.
He can't cast it. Brutal. All right. So Alexander Hayne is going to improve to 9-1 here. Gets past Jonathan Sukenik with the Mardu Dragons list. Jonathan's had a good run, and it looks like the players are maybe chatting sideboards there. Maybe some of the stuff we were talking about in the booth here, Randy, about,
Sure.
What role do you want to play post-board?
Yeah, 2 cruxes in the board for Jonathan. It
Okay.
obviously came in